Welcome to Crimson Guitars and welcome to a tutorial video. Today I have got a custom guitar that I've been working on for far too long. It's always far too long. And however, it is ready for finish. We've got a one-piece Burled Elm carved body, so it's heavily curved, and the wood had actually dried in basically a drop top curve already, which I loved. And then a Gonzalo Alves neck with a Gonzalo Alves fretboard, and the neck is multi-laminate, so 4 pieces plus headstock bits and pieces as well, of course. Now I've pretty much done everything on this build. Didn't even delegate most of the sanding. Fun times. Anyway, this instrument is now fully sanded. I spent the last hour or so fine sanding, going over all the curves and hard lines and things like that, and we are ready for finish. And with that in mind, this guitar is going to have the Crimson Guitars guitar finishing oil, which is something that we developed over. Well, I have a very nice relationship with a gentleman who happens to work at one of the largest finish, i.e. oil and paint manufacturers and developers in Europe. And he happens to have a team full of chemists. And he had 2 of his chemists reverse engineer true oil, which a lot of guitar builders work with, and then use that information to then ask us, what do we want this to act like? And our guitar finishing oil is thinner, it penetrates more, but it still has the same high build characteristics, dries even quicker than true oil. Difference is we ship it in a metal tin bottle, technically metal bottle, which means it lasts much longer on the shelf, whereas the true oil stuff, it comes in a plastic container and goes off in the container within a couple of months of you starting to use it, really, which is sad. Plus it's incredibly expensive. But anyway, this isn't really about selling our guitar finishing oil. It's about showing one of the methods that I use to use it. And that method, well, there are many. Okay, it is a finishing oil. You have the option to apply the oil liberally and leave it for 5 or 10 minutes if you've got a particularly warm day like it is today, maybe a little bit shorter if it's cold. It'll take a lot longer to go off. And essentially, when you start to feel that the oil is slightly tacky, then you need to rub away all of the excess. And I mean all. The oil penetrates the timber, wipe everything off until it's basically touch dry, and then leave it to cure. Do the same thing for 3 or 4 applications, making absolutely certain to rub off all of the excess, and you will end up with a very good finish. The fewer coats you have, the more matte the finish, the more coats you have, the higher the gloss. Now, this isn't a lacquer. Lacquer is a film finish that builds up a relatively thick finish on top of the wood. This penetrates the wood and hardens the surface of the wood. So it doesn't protect as much. You will still have a guitar that can be dented and can scratch, but it's a much more organic feeling. And I much prefer an oil finish most of the time. Now, the method I'm actually showing you today is slightly different, and that involves 1200 grit wet and dry paper. And what I'm going to do is apply as much oil as I possibly can, and then actually rub it in with the 1200 grit wet and dry paper. And that does several things. It fills the grain to a certain extent, which, this guitar has holes in it because of the burr. We're not that interested in the fitting of the grain, but it does push the oil even deeper into the wood, and it sort of burnishes the surface. It's an extra sanding process, really. And doing this, I've actually managed to do to get away with a single or a double coat of, or a big one thick coat of oil, followed by some wax, and have a guitar that's actually, you know, saleable, let alone playable. In this case, I'm going to be going a little bit further. I'm going to be doing this several times to build up a really nice finish, and I'm going to take you along the ride. Now, the first coat, we want this oil just to fill the instrument. So I'm spraying it on. I'm just laying it on, shall I say. And you can see just how quickly. Oh, I love this part. I absolutely love this part. Oh, crikey. I need to take a photo of this. The difference between oiled and unoiled is just mind-blowing. Okay, now I don't want to waste too much. But essentially, this first coat, it's going to keep on soaking in, and I'm just going to keep on applying more and more until I've actually got it, until it starts pooling on the surface, at which point I am then going to start using my wet and dry paper. Okay, so I'm going to keep on applying oil. Now you'll notice I'm wearing gloves. Gloves are... This oil does have drying chemicals in it. It is a chemical. It's not natural. Okay, it has natural additives, but not very many finishing oils are pure and unadulterated, shall we say. I think tung oil technically is, but yeah, don't quote me on that. Most oils will have drying agents in there, and they're not particularly nice. You don't want them on your skin. Even the process of creating a boiled linseed oil and our finishing oil is based somewhat. And it sounds so much like snake oil, but there is a process. You've got linseed oil, then you've got boiled linseed oil, and there are various other processes by which you can create a boiled linseed oil. This is based on one of those special processes. We've actually had to import, or at least our manufacturer has had to import specially this stuff because they couldn't get it in the UK, which I don't know, makes me feel special. Anyway, okay, this is now a long and boring process. I'm going to keep on applying oil on the top for a little while and just spooge it on, rub it in, and once I've done this for the initial coat, the coats that follow are going to go on much more easily, much more effectively, and they're going to give us a much better finish in the end, because essentially we are creating a much better substrate on which to build that final finish. Okay, now, so what I'm going to do, this is starting, it's so warm here at the moment that it's starting to go off. And this finish is already it's already something that you can be proud of and you could deliver. And that's predominantly because of the application method. I would love you to come to Crimson Guitars and buy our oil from us. It really is special. However, this application method will work with Danish oil to a certain extent. That's quite thick. It will work with teak oil, although I've developed an allergy to that. And you know, various other finishes. It's the technique is flexible, shall we say. Now the other thing is I'm using a bit of tissue paper here. Paper is made, and there is silica. Paper is made, it's definitely made. There's clay and silica in bits and pieces in them. And the act of rubbing this down with paper, and it's fairly substantial, strong stuff, that is also burnishing and polishing up the finish. Now, let's get a camera. I'll show you what's happening. So here it is. Now you can see where the oil is coming out of the various divots and dents and knot holes, etc. that we've got. But you can also see that that is already, well, it's already a finish that we could deliver. Now, I'm going to leave you for probably 3 or 4 days. I'm going to apply 4, 5, maybe 6 more coats, and we'll see what the final result is. Goodbye. So there we go, I'm at the final stages of this. First coat. I'm at the final stages of the first coat. And it's just rather amazing, really. The instrument has come together. The wood has come to life, and we're nearly there. The trick really is to make absolutely certain that all of the oil has been rubbed off. If you don't do that, it will dry on the surface, and then you might as well have just sprayed with lacquer, because you're going to have to rub down with paper, and you're never going to get it looking the same as if you had done it properly in the first place. Now, yeah, I mean, that's the beautiful thing. Basically spending 10 minutes now rubbing down. And you'll notice I've taken my glove off. I've taken the one glove off so that I can feel, you see it's slightly tacky there. I can feel where it's slightly tacky and get that off. And it's now, you know, coming together. Never underestimate the sense of touch. Now the other thing is, you know, you can still see where the oil is seeping out of the knot holes and cracks, etc. I'm going to have to keep on doing this until that stops. And yeah, that's just a characteristic of this particular wood. Sometimes with other woods you might get it coming up in the grain after you've initially rubbed off some excess, but it doesn't happen too often. Oh, I love this finish. I love this wood. English elm. Burr English elm. You just can't beat it. Alright, I'm going to leave that to sit for a little while. And I have the backplate to do. The other thing that I did was just decanted some of the oil into a lid. It's easier to apply that way. There's a guitar in my way. Nope, there's a guitar in my way. Here we go. Excellent. Fun times. Okay, I am unashamedly going to delegate the application of the next 3 or 4 coats to an apprentice because I can. And see, now I said unashamedly, I'm slightly ashamed, and that's just not good. No, I'm going to delegate this, and we will be back to have a look at it in about 4 or maybe 5 coats when I'm happy that we've got the best finish for our client. Yeah, see you in a minute. Here we are. This guitar, I'm really looking forward to getting strings on her, to be honest. So what we've ended up with is somewhere between 12 and 13, 14 coats, I think, of our guitar finishing oil. And at least from here, it's actually pretty glossy. Nothing on the fretboard. We'll use our fretboard cleaner and restorative on that a bit later. Now, this is without any wax, any other finishing products, anything other than basic elbow grease and guitar finishing oil. And it is giving us, it's a pretty awesome finish. Now, I have another guitar here that our luthier Tom has been working on. And this is a master build custom that has been stained with the Crimson Guitar's stunning stains. I think a combination of a couple of our stains actually, brown with a little bit of red in it. And on top of that, Tom has used guitar finishing oil and a final coat of Renaissance wax. And the trick with the Renaissance wax, and with any wax really, is to heat up the rag that you're applying it with, not with an open flame, that there is madness, but with a hot air gun or something, and that pushes, it basically spreads the wax out, melts it and makes the whole thing much easier and gives you a better result faster. So, judge it for yourself. Check out crimsonguitars.com/shop for where you can get a hold of the oil. And most importantly, let me know what you think when you have used it. Because, you know, seeing people's perfectly finished instruments using our stains and oils and things, it really is, it never ceases to be awesome. So, thanks for watching, and have an excellent day. We'll see you soon. Goodbye.